Welcome back to the Escape the Grind series. In the last episode, I finished building the Falcon Forge. We built our new weapon of mass destruction, the Rooster. And we fought the 28-day horde. In this episode, I'll be making a 19th century style factory for steel and iron production.
We should probably get the forges up and running in here soon.
I play darts with zombies.
Come here, you. Yes.
And I get absolutely mogged by juiced up biker Zeds.
Oh god, they're radiators.
So if that sounds interesting to you, get a nice cup of goldenrod tea, butter up a slice of cornbread, sit back and enjoy. Today, we're going to build the iron and steel production factory. This is going to make forged iron and steel, as well as other things like mechanical parts. These are really important when adding iron spikes to builds, or when I finally add turrets, lights and generators to the settlement. Now, I already have the concrete ready to go, and I've picked a good location. I settled with this open lot just down the road from the hideout. It's a nice open space that'll allow me total freedom with the design. It should also be far enough away that the heat created by the furnaces shouldn't bring too many screamers down on the hideout. When I was building Falcon Forge, I got interrupted multiple times by wandering undead. When I was engaged in the act of creation, the undead just couldn't help but disturb me and try to destroy some life. This time, I won't be letting them disturb and perturb me as easily. It was time to change my build strategy. I needed to build a wall.
I'm the foreman on the floor, got the blueprints tight. Zombies at the gates, refortified tonight. Concrete dreams in the floodlight glow. Still beam stacked high, no undead getting close. Factory boss keeps the motors on grind. No slack from the pack, they can't cross that line. Frost patrol rolling out, keep them all on ice. Order control flow, cold cut, precise. Stacking walls like beats, brick by rhyme. Turn the Parker's breath into overtime. When the horde start moaning, I just tighten my glove. This is industry survival with a militant shove.
Alright, that's enough of that. I have the border wall completed and it only cost a few hundred blocks of concrete. Not bad for a bit of peace of mind. Now I can start building my factory in peace. This build did take some time, but it begins the same way most of my builds do, with a ground layout. Now I have the max outer size laid out, I can move on to adding the real floor. I also wanted to tell you that the next segments have the Twitch chat actions enabled. This means that my chatters were able to vote to make my game a little bit more wacky. So, bear in mind that the next bits may be a bit schizophrenic to say the least. Enjoy. Here I'm laying out the ground floor, sort of base layout of how the building's actually going to look, how wide it's going to be and all that. I also decided that I wanted the factory to be raised, so there'd be a ground floor around, so I'm actually adding a second layer of blocks. Everything was going quite well, and then this vote came up. I thought that a boss would be a piece of cake, given my affiliation with the Machete and Mr. Rooster. However, I may have slightly underestimated the power of Twitch boss votes. Alrighty, before we get into the next segment, I just wanted to thank you for watching today's adventure so far. I hope you're enjoying it as much as I enjoyed making it. Even though I'm only a new guy on the YouTube scene, I'm trying to help the YouTube algorithm find my audience. So if you want to help me become a totally insufferable full-time YouTuber, then like the video and subscribe if you want to see more. Share it with your friends if you fancy it too. Cheers. Now let's get back to it. The vote had been completed. The people had chosen. I'd be facing off against a biker horde imbued with shock powers. I'd never faced one of these before, but that's enough dilly-dallying. Let's give the people what they want.
Oh god, they're radioactive. Oh!
Well, that didn't go as expected. Some of my live viewers were quite sorrowful, as you can imagine. Now, I never thought that they would be as strong as the Hulk and more deadly than the Plague, but here we are. If I ever see them juiced up bikers again, I assure you, I will have my revenge. Anyway, after that slightly humiliating setback, I decided to take on a POI. Taylor Manor to be exact. Now, I remember gazing upon this place in episode 1.
Nice.
I said I'd check it out another day, and that day is today. This POI was well out of my reach on day 1 when I first spotted it, but we're well overqualified for this place now. I'll do my best to tear this place up, but as you might have spotted, the effects of prolonged loneliness are in full effect. Buckets on heads are a known symptom of extended solitary confinement from society. And before you say it, trade erect doesn't count.
Who's having some kind of schizophrenic breakdown. I'm pretty sure.
With Taylor Manor cleansed, I stopped by Rects to sell a thing or two. Then it was back to building.
I've enabled every single spawn, so you can spawn pretty much anywhere. And now it's nighttime, so any zombies you spawn will be nightmarishly quick.
I thought my viewers would be harsh and spawn some unclean ones for me to fight at night, but instead, in their benevolence, they gifted me this.
I need my reference. Some reference images. Jump. Oh my god. Look at that.
Jumping around like a superhero put me in the mood to cleanse another POI. This time it was the Ripon residence. Don't worry, I'll make it quick.
Not zombie world.
When I got back to building, I decided to fill out the ground floor on the outskirts of the factory. I also decided to test out the voice I was going to use for the Horde every night stream that I had planned.
Oh, scheiße. Oh, is there a chance for some rotten meat there? Come on.
I had the outer ground floor finished, so I could move on. A few more weird events happened, like confetti zombies,
Watch what happens when I kill this one.
and then drunken undead with big heads. But other than that, not much building was done before sunrise. An attack vote appeared, and I hadn't seen one of these before, so I made sure my gun was fully loaded this time.
Not taking any chances this time. We got him.
Well done.
We've got you this time. We actually ended up standing almost in the exact same places where we died as well, isn't that weird?
After some messing about with some menus and settings, I decided to get back to the factory. And this time, nothing would disturb me. Or would it?
I'm run dirty. Melee hit. Zombies into blues. Hey, excellent. Come here, you. Yes. Oh, what a shot. I do the wrench. The wrench seems to be more fitting. Oh. Gotcha. Ah, 43 points. What did we get? We got batter up. Metal chain mod. Don't have enough knockdown power? Learn to craft a metal chain modification. I believe take that. Our attacks increase the chance of knocking down your enemy. I'll take that too. Athletic shoes, we don't need those. 3,000 coins, a Mega Crush, and a baseball bat for our troubles. That is brilliant.
While editing some spawn values and checking into the menus further, this came up.
Our boss vote. Okay. I wouldn't be too bothered if you voted in them bikers again, so that I could actually win against them this time.
The vote had been cast. It was the shock bikers again. This was my chance to redeem myself against my nemesis. Let's get it on.
They are extremely tough. They headshot only damage will come in. My gun actually broke. You gone, lawyer. win. This time we win. 2,500 coins, 3 silver nuggets, 4 diamonds, 5 gold nuggets, magnum rounds. Good, we got loads of good stuff. Excellent.
I had defeated the pack of electroshock irradiated bikers and went back to building for a short while. That was before I logged off. The next stream I did was the Horde every night stream, and that lasted from day 33 to day 37. It was a bloodbath. But that's a story for another video. I will, however, bring you forward in time to when I continue building the factory, and also I'll show you the build for gravesite number 2. For gravesite 2, I wanted to give it a more gothic tomb look. So I started with the floor, and then I added the crypt. Once the crypt was in place, I had a much better idea of where everything needed to go and how big walls or the roof needed to be. Once the basics were in place, I went into the detail portion of the build by adding balusters, pillars, framing spires, and railings along the rooftop. I decided to add some more depth to the sides by building a sloped ledge from the roof railings down to a set of arched windows, and then another ledge from those windows to the ground. Now, painting, it took me some time just to get the right mix of colour and contrast, but the end design really came together well. After a lot of back and forth painting and a lot of groundskeeping, here is the finished tomb. This build is small, but it paints a big picture. This is a resting place, and it shows. One of my favourite features is the hanging ivy on the sides of the roof, making it look old and at home. The added oak tree and pine also give it a cosy feel. When night comes, this build really looks the part. The added shadows and flickering lights brings that needed ambience and peace that the eternally at rest deserve. Around the fence, I added a hedge and then added some flowers to make it look like a rose bush that borders the entire garden. The gardens are well kept and the grass is allowed to grow for wildlife and insects. Planters have azaleas, and we've added some cotton plants and goldenrod for good measure. Although this is just a marker for my previous failing, I'm glad it exists. Okay, back to the main build of the video, the factory. I'll get through this a bit quicker as we've had quite a few diversions already. Alright, so I started back on the build with the flooring, and then the walls and large Victorian style windows. These will help give the build its chic industrial revolution look. Once the downstairs windows were built, I moved on to the second story, adding the roof, and then a spiral staircase with its accompanying banisters for good measure. Then it was out to the front briefly so I could add some trim to the front door before heading back up to add the remaining walls and windows upstairs. After the walls and windows were in place upstairs, it was time to add the roof. I went with a mixture of different ledges and chamfered blocks to add some trim and detail. Then it was finally filled in with wooden blocks to save on concrete and to mix things up a little bit, before I finally finished the roof off with a nice wrought iron guardrail around the top to give it that finishing look. After the roof was done, I decided to add some more ledges and trim work around the building to replicate a building of that era. Then it was time to start painting. A lot of my time painting was spent going back and forth between different styles, but I eventually settled for a nice rich brick colour. Then it was time to add some industrial chimneys. These would be lit once the factory is alive, showing that the lifeblood of the factory is pumping away. I then added some bars to all the ground floor windows before starting to move in the smelting equipment and workbenches. Now, after a few finishing touches, the build is complete. Here it is, PeaceMaker Iron and Steelworks. You can tell the design is straight from the Industrial Revolution, with its 4 mighty chimneys billowing coal smoke into the air 24/7. Ah, I love the smell of industry in the morning. I made sure to add large windows to let in as much natural light as I could get, as we have no electric lighting. Outside the factory is a litany of different pieces of equipment and resources stacked around for later use. On the inside, it was good practice to add metal trussing and iron girders to strengthen the core of the build. I have multiple work tool carts, boxes of resources, winch hooks, sacks of coal and ore, all necessary to keep this beast of production in a good mood. The heart of the steelworks are the furnaces. There are 3 main forges on each side that are accessible through the hatches on the front. They lead up to the chimneys above. Upstairs I have my glorious office. With ornate tiling leading up to a grand desk, you know you're in the presence of a powerful man of industry. I chose the brick walls to keep in touch with the essence of tough work that happens below. The rounded window allows me to keep an eye on the world outside as the factory heart beats furiously below. At night, the steelworks attains a welcoming and warm glow. This comes from a mixture of natural torches and the molten metal brewing within. This factory can make thousands of forged iron and steel every day. The only thing that holds it back is the one-man supply of raw ingredients that its boiling forges crave day in and day out. This build took me quite some time, but I'm sure you'll agree that it was in fact time well spent. Alright, here I am mining as much as possible to keep those very hungry forges running at full pelt. This is where the escape the grind part really comes into practice. With my fully upgraded mining skill and iron pickaxe, you can see just how quick I tear through rock and iron in the mines. Now, the PeaceMaker Iron and Steelworks is finished, so I can check that off my checklist. When I showed my wife how it looked, she immediately said it looked like somewhere familiar. But believe me, that wasn't intentional. As with all my builds, I make sure to emblazon it with a big gold cross, as I think that's necessary. Now, that about wraps it up for this installment. I really hope you enjoyed this episode and all that came with it. Let me know in the comments what you think of the 2 builds that were completed, and if you've ever made anything similar. In the next episode, we have a very, very big milestone. The cathedral will be renovated and we'll be experiencing the horde every night chaos that I talked about earlier in this video. So subscribe if you want to see that. As always, I'll finish the episode with a bit of age-old wisdom that was relevant to this adventure. For every house is built by someone, but God is the builder of everything. So the next time you build anything, just have a think about the materials and maybe who built them for you. Until we see each other again, goodbye and God bless, friends.